effects of climate change that is being experienced across the world, and Africa being the global south that has suffered most, and yet we are not the major contributor of negative climate activities. Welcome, everyone. We are glad that members are still joining. We have our keynote speaker. That will be the first part of the session. We'll also have the second, which is the panel discussion, where we'll also have experts to uh, give more insights. And also the third will be a question and answer session. So I would request members to have a freedom to chat, to share their questions, to share their comments, their insights on the chat box. And also you can share your contacts so that we start following each other, especially in social media platforms. Sustainable Africa, we will share so that you can follow us, and we will all immediately follow you so that we continue to have a very organized and symbiotic relationship as we move forward. Remember, Sustainable Africa, our vision is to build sustainable skills and innovation, especially for the youth across Africa. So right now, I will invite our keynote speaker immediately, who is none other than um, Chizoba Zaka. But before she comes in, I will take this opportunity to um, let members at least know who is Chizoba. So quickly, I will read her bio. Um, Chizoba is an award-winning climate champion, innovator, researcher, advocate, and entrepreneur. She is recognized as a future leader in the field of climate and clean energy. Chizoba takes action by collaborating with renewable energy firms, climate education organizations, and other institutions to accelerate net zero goals. Her work focuses on creating access to clean energy, educational, and various other opportunities, especially on the area of climate. So glad to see you, Chizoba Nziaka. Kindly take the floor and give us your keynote speech as we start. Thank you so much. Chizoba. I guess she might be trying to come in.
Hello, good
We
morning, everyone. Yes,
go ahead, Chizoba. We can hear you. I guess we have lost her.
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Chizoba, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you see me? Apologies, I had a network glitch in the process. So, yeah, good morning. I was listening to the introduction before I was caught off guard. And yeah, thank you so much for having me today. And I'm very happy that this session has like a lot of youths of exceptional visions and skills that I will be speaking to today as regards to, renewable energy potentials and renewable energy assets, renewable energy solutions in Africa. So thank you for having me.
Welcome. I had even given a bio, so our members actually know who you are. So you could just go ahead and give us your insights on this particular subject.
Okay, thank you for introducing me. Let me just give my short bio. I'm 𝐄𝐍𝐉𝐎𝐾, a climate and
That's
clean energy
that's okay.
professional. Yeah. So, sorry about the noise in my background. I think they're calling me from the reception. So, renewable energy is something that Sorry about that. I had to improve the reduce the noise in my background. So when we talk about renewable energy technologies in Africa, one of the things that I want to say about this is that yes, it's a growing it's a growing sector, and two, as youth, we have to build our capacity so that we are also part of the just transition processes. One, I want to talk about job opportunities. When we look at the renewable energy, when we talk about renewable energy technologies in Africa, we want to look at the possibilities that we are not just importing and having foreign people to come into our country, do the installation, do the manpower work. What are the possibilities that we ourselves are also involved in that process, especially if we're talking about just energy transition process. Two, I want to talk about the economical value. Many of us in Africa must have faced energy poverty in Africa, and from not having light or not having whatever, that also probably affect our industries, affect our businesses, affects our health, and goes on and on. Have you heard of situations where they say, oh, we lost that because we didn't have electricity for oxygen, and those kind of things, or I'm not able to sell my product because it got spoiled due to the fact that I didn't have light for days. So when we talk about renewable energy technology, it's more than an alternative source of energy for us. It's also a potential, it's also something that has come to help our businesses, help us as individuals. Because one of the things I remember, whenever I am holding like maybe a fellowship program, some of my students would tell me, oh ma, I'm not able to join today, or I wasn't able to join last 2 weeks because we didn't have light. So if we do not look at these things that way, that to say, okay, this actually can be something that can hinder our educational growth, like my sister would say, she says, if something is happening everywhere in the world, Africans will be the last to know. Why? Because we might probably not have power suppliers at the time they are announcing the news. So you can see how extreme these things can be. So we don't just look at it as an alternative source of power. We should also look at it as what how beneficial it would be for us, for our economy, how beneficial it is for us, for socially and otherwise. So when we talk about renewable energy technologies in Africa, one of the things also that I really want for us to understand is that Africa are the ones that have the resources that they use to make these technology solutions, these cells, these components, everything that it takes to build a solar PV or to build an inverter battery system. The resources come from here. The lithium batteries, which what like everything that you're looking, the lithium ion, the raw material resources before it is processed into all of those things. So why are you telling us that if we are the ones that have this raw materials, this generation, this century should understand that we cannot make the mistakes of our ancestors, in the sense that we had crude oil, we saw we had granules, we had the chocolates, we had everything that we had, and at the end of the day, we are the ones buying chocolate expensive, despite the fact that we have cocoa. We are the ones importing our own fuel, our own crude oil that we have. We will send it out, they will process it, and then we will export it. At the end of the day, we are the beggars, right? Instead of us to be the lenders, we are the beggars. We are so rich in resources, yet we are so poor. Would we want that as a shifting from fossil fuel now to renewable energy technology? Is this the future we want for Africa? The answer would be no. We wouldn't want that. Saying that, okay, fine, we are looking at alternative sources of energy. We should also just understand that these natural resources that we are going to use to create that technological solution is still going to come for Africa. And this is one thing I want to actually let all the youths know, and that they should take, they should take they should use their potential, and they should also not they should also build their capacity and take charge of this opportunity, because it's not about fixing solar panels, it's not about going green, it's about we taking charge, it's about us not being exploited for the second time, it's about us building generational wealth for our children. It's when you talk about renewable technologies in Africa, it is so broad in the way I see it. And when we talk about just energy transition, it is so big that if we allow, our the same thing that happened in the Niger Delta region, whereby now they're suffering like real. You can see the erosions, you can see the land degradation, you can see all of these things. If we allow such issue to happen to us for the second time, it means that we are not wise enough. So I want all of us to take charge by building our capacity to get involved in policies, to get involved in governance. Don't just say policy and governance it's not my concern, I'm not interested in all of these things, because it shapes your everyday life. So I want all of us to get involved in research that could, develop our society. I want all of us to get into advocacy as regards this issue. Let us look at the whole sphere that surrounds this, and not just about, about having an alternative source of energy. Like I said, stated in the first part, that that it is not about just having light. It affects our economical our economical life. It affects our social life. It affects everything that concerns us, and therefore we need to be very involved in this process. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much, Izomo, for that very insightful sentiments. And you have really opened our session on a high note. And we don't take that for granted. So thank you so much. We are benefiting so much from your experience and your many years of research and participation in climate change. Kindly, we request you to stay with us. I know you had requested that you have another session and events to attend today, but just stick around. We'll come back to you for more wisdom on this particular matter. So once again, to remind our participants that this is our second episode of climate change webinar series here at Sustainable Africa, and we are determined to dissect and bring into perspective the level of our preparedness, especially in Africa, to handle climate change. We can see it. Climate change has caused more damage, and this can be almost 97% associated to human activities. And most of the contributors come from the global north, but who is suffering is African continent. So I will also remind members that my colleague Jonathan Chuai is also a colleague and in a certain in terms of moderating these episodes, particularly today. So at this juncture, I will also request members to continue chatting on the chat box, ask your questions, write your insights about renewable energy, give your comments, share your links to various social media platforms and even papers that you've written and materials that we can be able to refer as we continue discussing this matter. So at this particular time, again, I want to remind members that the first session is keynote speakers. We had our first one, who is Gisoba. We'll have Idoku, who will also give us a second keynote speech. The second session will be a panel discussion, and the third will be a question and answer session. So everybody is covered. So kindly share whatever wisdom you have on the chat box. Once again, I welcome you to this session. Our second speaker is Olomide Idoku. I hope he has joined. So I will give a small bio about so that members will get to know our next speaker. Olomide Ido is a climate change activist from Nigeria who promotes environmental awareness and balanced approach to environmental protection and development. With over 13 years of experience in climate change activism, he engages both younger and older generations through his involvement in climate change organizations and social media, where he is known as Mr. Climate. So if I've not seen him, we will go to the next speaker, who is Yasmin. Yasmin will talk to us briefly, and I would wish to give her a bio about Yasmin. Yasmin Mukhtar is an energy manager and senior special assistant on women's education for the Kano state government. She was the beneficiary of the Rural Electrification Agency Energizing Education Program, which sparked her interest in energy conservation and efficient production. Yasmin is a solar auditor and a certified trainer in energy management courses at the Center for Renewable Energy and Sustainable Transition, Bayero University, Kano. Her passion for promoting young girls' participation in STEM-related careers led to her appointment as the youngest senior special assistant to the governor of Kano State on women's education in Nigeria. Yasmin Mohitar, take the mic and kindly speak to us briefly. As we know we will also have you on the panel session. Welcome, Yasmin.
Thank you. The top UN officials says northern Gaza is now in a full-blown famine, and the RSA claims the cost of fuel has risen by 10 pence in the last 4 months. It's a mix of sunny spells and heavy thundery showers.
Sorry, Yasmin, you are speaking from very far. I suspect you have a network hitch.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Kindly go ahead.
Okay, great. Good morning to you all. My name is Yasmin Motar, and I'm very happy to join.
We have lost you again. Still, your voice is slow.
I look forward to. Hello, good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Am I audible now?
Yes,
Can you hear
but
me?
we can hear you, but still you are shaking, but you can go ahead. We can hear you as we progress.
Okay. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
My name is Yasmin Mukhtar, and yes, as an energy manager, I'm very happy to be part of this insightful session. I look forward to joining the panel, my colleagues on the panel in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yasmin, for accepting to talk to us, especially when during the panel session. I don't know whether Olomide has joined so that he speaks to us before we move to the panel session. Fine. At this juncture, then I will have to hand my mic to my colleague Chiwai Jonathan to proceed to the panel session. Jonathan.
Thank you so much, Kelvin, for discussions. A gentle reminder that their points of view and they are also contributing to this discussion. If you have got burning questions, I would kindly ask you to write them in the chat box so that we can do justice to any of the questions that you might have. And also in the chat box, just feel free to introduce yourself and also the place that you are coming from, so that we can also know which regions, which countries are being represented through this call. Um, then thank you so much to the keynote speakers for doing justice, even giving us the general outlook and the introduction to renewable energy and what is it that we might be looking into. So I would want, first of all, to give a bit of a biography of Misty Tangwa Abilu Zenjo, who is one of the panelists. Then also give the bio of all the panelists that we will be working with today. Thank you so much, Kelvin, also for muting. I would also remind us all that whenever you are not speaking, kindly mute so that we can get
I didn't hear you well, Jonathan.
clarity
What was your last sentiment?
from
Hello, Jonathan. Can you hear me? Um, Jonathan, we cannot hear you. You're fluctuating. Could you check on your network? Meanwhile, as my colleague Jonathan Chuhai works on his
from all
network,
the
because
speakers.
we're losing him,
So
we are not getting him clearly. Uh, Dear members, Jonathan
Abilu
is
Zenjo is a
struggling with
climate
the network, and we will proceed as he works on network. Um, Mr. Abilu Tangwa, we had you last week. We talked about, we introduced climate change, and today we are talking about sustainable, renewable energy, and we would want you to go ahead and first of all respond to from your research and statistics, how many countries in Africa that has really managed to a bigger percentage to appreciate renewable energy as a source, as an alternative source to fossil fuels? Mr. Bill, go ahead. Mr. Bill, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Sorry, Mr. Bill, we cannot hear you. Your mic is muted. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it okay now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Sustainable Africa. It's a pleasure to be here today to discuss this inspiring topic, exploring renewable energy in Africa. This topic is timely. This topic is topical. Why? Because it's aligned with the one of the sustainable development goal earmarked for 2035, that is affordable energy for every household within Africa. It's a topic that if we can tackle very well, it will go a long way in triggering the attainment of most of the sustainable development goals earmarked for 2035, 2030, I mean, like the problem of no to poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, and climate change. With the present need to add to the energy situation or the energy poverty that Africa is having, renewable energy presents a very, very critical solution to most of this problem. Renewable energy has the capacity to drive the fight against climate change, economic development, and renewable energy has a lot of opportunity to provide a viable solution for most of the challenges that are facing the African community. By harnessing our solar panels, our wind panels, hydroelectric power, we can pave the way for an emerging African continent. As you asked earlier, what are some of the countries that have made remarkable attainment as regards renewable energy? Morocco is actually doing a very marvelous job. They have actually allocated a fund of about 14 billion in the establishment and harnessing the potentials of renewable energy resources. That's a very laudable initiative from an African country. They are thinking loudly, and you look at a country like Kenya, you look at Ethiopia. I think they are actually doing a lot. Then you look at South Africa, they are also doing a lot. Even though when you are looking at from a global perspective, that's the African perspective, you see that our initiatives are still at a very low level because only about 2% of the African population are enjoying from the process of this renewable energy, and that's not very good for the continent that should be leading in the implementation and deployment of renewable energy resources. So I think we should be looking at what are the challenges because a lot has to be done, because we have a lot of potentials. Because when you look at the Sahara Desert, according to global analysts, it is a gold mine for the production of solar energy that can propel and accelerate the development of the African continent. So I'm going to leave there and I will wait for my time to come back again. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Abilu, as always. Very energetic and enthusiastic men giving climate change and all matters related to it to an effort to succeed in this fight to correct the errors that has happened in climate change. So we will go to
Hello,
yes, I can
Kelvin.
hear you now. You can continue, Jonathan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kelvin, for that. I'm sorry I had a little bit of glitch with my internet. However, let us proceed, and this time, let me call upon Mr. 𝐼𝐔𝐄, who is the founder of Asili Kwanza Uganda, a social enterprise that offers safe, affordable, and sustainable energy solutions. He is a passionate conservationist and an entrepreneur with a deep interest in the circular economy, sustainable energy, and carbon offsets projects. Over the past 6 years, he has been dedicated to sustainability through green entrepreneurship, youth leadership, and empowerment in conservation spaces. Isaac's leadership has earned him awards such as the African Climate Innovation Challenge 2023 and Uganda's Best Climate Action Enterprise of the Year 2021. He is also a fellow at the Young African Leadership Initiative, YALI, and the Future Makers Program. Isaac aspires to a transformed world and is focused on creating opportunities to remove barriers to development. So, with this time, we will leave it to Isaac so that he can also delve into the discussion and have his introduction for us. Over to you, Mr. Isaac.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm right now in Kampala, Uganda. Please let me know if I'm audible enough.
You are audible. We
Nathan,
can
am I audible
hear
enough?
you perfectly. Yes, you are audible enough and I can hear you perfectly. Perfect.
Great. Thanks once again for that brief intro, and I would like to quickly dive into but also highlighting from about the things going on in the industry in as far as energy is concerned. So I will quickly first commend the stakeholders who have been in the space of making sure that energy access is something that is so fundamental for growth of communities. But again, we can't still key challenges, especially on the African continent, that are facing adoption of renew. It wouldn't have been good to start with the challenges, but it's a better thing still to highlight it because it is what is happening. So you realize the renewable energy solutions that are being scaled to markets. Uh, they are really still inaccessible by majority of people. Now, for example, if I can reference from here in Uganda, you realize still over 94% of the people still rely on biomass energy. That is charcoal and firewood, which are quite disastrous to the environment, but also associated with so many challenges. But then the question would be why? Why do we have that such a statistic? And of course, such a statistic, when you run a comparative analysis across sub-Saharan Africa, you will literally find it is quite synonymous. So why are people still depending on these unsustainable energy resources? There is a very key factor of inaccessibility of these solutions. So if you can take an example of sustainable solutions, maybe like solar power, it is still quite expensive. So people have to continue relying on the cheaper options, which are not very sustainable. And of course, we come back to to key stakeholders who could drive this. For example, governments, the policies have not adequately pushed for this for removal of these barriers. So there is a big question of accessibility, but also being being hinged on the economics. We still have very poor people in our communities who cannot access these resources. But then me, I always want to come from the perspective of entrepreneurship, because wherever there is a problem, there has to be an opportunity, and this is where the young people can actually come in. So the young people can come in via the private sector uh, 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 angle, where we can just come in and fill these gaps. Now, for example, through my my social enterprise, Asili Kwanza Uganda, we are trying to bridge the gap on the transition to renewable energy, because as much as we acknowledge that people have no money, so we can't just have that drift, like a drastic drift from these biomass energy resources. For example, renewable energy resources like great solar energies and other resources. There has to be a transition. So as young people, how can we come in? It can be through running businesses around that, because sometimes we have to acknowledge the fact that whoever is around us has some money, but what value are we proposing to those people, or how can we remove the barriers? Now, for example, we might have solutions so much centered in cities. Now, for example, here in Kampala, and we have a distant person from the city who would want to get an EPC or
Isaac,
electric kettle. Hello.
Isaac, yes. Could you kindly round up so that we can also engage some
Oh,
of the question and receive some questions from whoever might want to have some questions for interaction.
all
Thank you.
right, all right. Sorry about the. I was trying to follow through the questions that I had. Let me ramp up very fast. So um so bridging the gaps through social entrepreneurship could help in transition, making people transform away from unsustainable energy solutions. And of course, financing. Now this comes to high-end stakeholders. Now, for example, in carbon markets, which is a very good scheme that is growing. This could be a very key important thing to drive the just transition, but also to help on subsidizing on sustainable energy solutions. So let me just finish here. Much as there's been more to say about it, to allow in questions or comments. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Isaac, for those insights. And I'm sure if we were following closely, the panelists, the keynote speakers, have been hammering mainly on the same thing, and there has to be a transition, and that transition needs to be just as what Abilu was saying, that energy access is fundamental in development. not only to achieve sustainable development goals, but for the health of the planet and the well-being for us. Energy is key. So at this time, allow me to call upon Kelvin so that he can also assist me to have some questions maybe that might have been dropped in the chat box, because I dropped off the call. So there might have been some questions that might have been dropped in the chat box, so that we can further have an interaction, have some questions, and have some answers being given, so that we can do justice to this topic that we were having. So Kelvin, if you have some questions, you can kindly go ahead. If not, I can as well open some questions that our panelists and also our keynote speakers might actually do justice to.
Thank you. I have a question that I've received here, and it's a concern. And I would request Bonvins Odhiambo to respond to a question that what can communities in Africa now, we have talked about stakeholders, now communities, even at an individual level or at community level, can do to ensure sustainable renewable energy and inclusivity in Africa? Bonvins, if you can hear me, kindly respond. Bonvins?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to join you in this important energy discussion. And more so when it is coming at a time when the climate has brought a lot of challenges in Africa. It was in this morning that I was reading some newspaper, and I learned that there is flood in most parts of Africa. And when we delve deeper into this, we realize it's a climate change. And we know that climate change has a nexus with the energy. So that is why I'm really concerned, and I'm happy that Kelvin is bringing a topic which is in motion, which is very important to our community right now. The topic of the sustainability of energy to our community, and the steps the community has taken to solve the energy challenges. Kevin, you will realize that most parts of the African, most countries nowadays, people are engaged in buying very small solar panels. These solar panels, you go to the vibandas, you will see light which is provided when darkness comes. They use the solar panels. These solar panels are very cheap and they are affordable. So that, in essence, is promoting renewable energy. Because if there was no solar panel, they could be using some other form of energy, which is very disadvantageous to the community or to the environment which we live in. As a community or as a country, I remember where I come from, Kenya. Kenya subsidizes most of these solar renewable energy materials. You'll realize that when you are importing like a solar panel to the country, there is a subsidy which the government itself is chipping in and paying, so that people can get this renewable energy. And I'm happy, even as we talk about renewable energy, as a country, most of our energy sources are renewable. You will talk about hydro, you will talk about solar, you will talk about wind, you will talk about geothermal. Most of our renewable energy sources are renewable as a country. That is why some research say that we have reached around maybe 4% as a global level, which I need guidance. but most of our energy sources are renewable. The challenge is the sustainability. They are not accessible in remote areas where we live in. There are also wind. We have learned that I'll be very specific about East Africa, or specifically Kenya. We have constructed wind turbines. And you will learn that even I went to a remote village in Turkana, in a village in Kenya. They have wind turbines. So what does this tell us? That communities are really moving forward, and they are contributing in this global debate of renewable energy. You will realize that there are even cooperatives which are formed, where chamas, people just engage, and then they say, today we'll be buying maybe this solar panel for this person. So these cooperatives have also promoted. So people engage in different groups just to promote renewable energy. I mean, we may go for on and on, but we learn that the communities we live in are also taking the initiative. Even if it is not the government, at individual level, the community are taking the initiative of moving forward on engaging in renewable energy. So I think we are in the better track. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you so much, Akoko. That is very brilliant, insightful statements, full of authority in terms of research. I would also bring members into speed that we are in a question and answer session. So members, you can channel your questions. My colleague Jonathan has more questions. Jonathan, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Kelvin. As we round up, I would like to pose a question to Chizoba, just in quick 2 minutes, 3 minutes only. How can education and awareness campaigns help change perceptions and increase acceptance of renewable energy in Africa? Chizoba, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Sorry, my background is a little bit noisy, so I had to move. So yeah, can I get that again? I'm not sure if anyone asked if any specific question to me, but if you did, please, if you can
Okay.
put it in the chat or ask me again, I will be grateful. And if not,
Okay.
sorry, please can you come back again with your question?
Let me do that right away. So I was saying, as we are rounding up, just in 2 minutes, in 3 minutes at most, can you kindly answer these questions for us? How can education and awareness campaigns help change perceptions and increase acceptance of renewable energy in Africa?
Okay. One of the very good things is that we are holding sessions like this, and I can tell you that sessions like this actually help in that skill, right? Creating awareness as regards to renewable energy technology. I can tell you for a fact that if you look 5 years back, a lot of us never had a degree that was very tailored to this part, about learning something about, solar energy and all of those things. So it's quite, education is very important. One, we can, build a capacity and know what is ongoing now, like know what is happening in what is trending, what kind of solar panels is trending, what kind of technological solutions are needed for us. Is it geothermal that will be good for our country? Is it hydro that can be good for our country? Okay, fine. If these are the things that can be good for our country, what kind of tax incentives can we show to investors to understand that, oh, if you come into our country, you're able to get this return of investment? That's another one. So you want to let them know, okay, how sustainable can this project be? If you come to our country, your project be sustainable on the long run. And we want to look at environmental situation of any project that is coming to this place. So there's so many things as regards to renewable energy technology in Africa, from finance to sustainability, environmental sustainability, to economical value, to all of those things. So each and every one of us can actually speak a niche and focus on that niche and do so well in that niche. So I think capacity building, advocacy around these things are very crucial, very important, even to the people in the remote villages, so that people don't feel like, because I do not have like a formal education, I cannot do something about this. No, you can either be, you can either go green, or you can actually be an advocate or a preacher for this, or you can even be the ones that is standing as an intermediary between the, between the developers and the community. So all of these things are very important. And as we continue to grow, there is every need for us to grow within the trends that are learn the trends that are available, like learn the things that are needed for each sector. One of the problems I have with our educational curriculum is that it is obsolete. Sometimes we are learning things that we don't even need right now. So I think that we should continue to build our capacity. We should continue to talk about these things, and learn new things every day. I believe for every call, every session, every webinar that people join, there is no how you wouldn't take one thing home. So that's all I have to say around that now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chizoba. That is key there, bringing in the technology to the grassroots people so that they understand what is coming, so that they can own what is coming to them. And also it helps the issue of being accepted by the community and being owned by the people. These are locally led initiatives. Thank you so much. So to Abilu, quickly, this one is for you. How can communities in Africa be more involved in renewable energy projects to ensure sustainability and inclusivity?
Thank you for asking that question. As the last speaker rightly said, I think our African government can do this by integrating technical and vocational training within our educational system, because education, as we all know, form a critical pillar in any development and in any source of activity that are changing perception. So I think we should first start by integrating the technical and vocational training within our educational training. Then the second aspect, I think the government should make it in such a way that the local community, they should be involved in planning of most of this renewable project. There should be no monopoly of management. There should be a decentralized source of management in such a way that because one of the benefits of this sustainable renewable energy is the fact that it can be deployed within a short and within a large scale. So if the government can make it in such a way that there should be no monopoly, individuals within their various community can establish and manage and man up their various projects, I think it will accelerate the acceptance, and the level of management will also be very, very, very good for the African continent, and it will go a long way in making sure an improvement in the management and development of most rural communities within the African continent. So I think planning and inclusivity is a very, very critical pillar in the acceptance within the local community. So there should be no monopoly of most of these renewable energy resources. Our communities, they should be given a leeway to manage their resources, to implement most of these renewable resources, and that will go a long way to accelerate the development of most rural communities within Africa. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much for doing justice to that. So it's about training, making people know, having the hands-on aspect, and also making them being involved in decision making, so that they know what is it that they are doing, not generally a top-down approach, but involving them from the start to the finish. Thank you so much, Abilu, for that. So let me hand over to Kelvin so that he can just give us the conclusion and everything that he has on his desk. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We have learned a lot, and I want to thank our keynote speakers and our panelists, and most importantly, our members who have consistently joined, listened, and practiced. And what we need to do is to practice and send this message everyone, everywhere. Share. We have social media platforms. We are not limited. Let us start from here, share out there. And I would also request our keynote speakers, our members, and panelists that whenever we call for this kind of very timely topics. Let us invite others so that they can benefit. As we benefit from here, we spread the word because we are followers in our various social platforms and even our offline communities. We can always spread the word. Thank you so much. We know that the global north is causing trouble to the global south, but we must stand up and always advocate for more funding so that we can have more renewable energy. We welcome you for the next third episode that we will communicate. And thank you so much, everyone. It is a pleasure for Sustainable Africa to have you and chat through this very, very emotive topic that is cutting across the world. Thank you. We wish you well. We will invite you when we prepare and plan for the next episode. Be blessed wherever you are. My name is 𝐶𝐿Vin Thank you so much. I speak this on behalf of the Director of Programs, Ababa Bakar, and he's in here, but I say this on his behalf. Thank you so much. Good day.